Hey there everyone, this is Etrian going back to my playthrough of Etrian Odyssey 4, post-com time, except
I
for
don't know
this bit.
Fear. Fear is a stranger to me.
It's true. The Chameleon King is kind of a pushover though. He's gonna start by summoning two guys that are not going to do anything, and then he's going to die himself. He doesn't have a huge health pool, he kinda goes down pretty quick, at least for this team. Uh, I struggle with him for a bit because I don't remember what he did, but eventually I get in gear and basically hard counter him. If you want to, I would recommend your dancer use Refresh into Wide Dance or into the healing moves as you need them. I believe I went with Guard because I thought that would be good, but really he just spams Poison for the first portion of the match when people need to be poisoned. Ice is the main element that's thrown around. I accidentally set up 2 runes at once, which doesn't work. Not much else to that.
Oh, you can only have one rune up at a time. Interesting.
Yeah, past me didn't quite know that little tidbit, so I accidentally wasted by using both runes at the same time, but the Volt rune overrid the Ice rune, so it's all okay. So, I'm gonna start throwing some storms at people, because Storm will do a lot of damage to a sleeping target. I believe I would want to storm the guy in the back, go for the analysis to double check weaknesses and stuff. I know it's resistant to ice and neutral to everything else though. I consider using the Zeus's Wrath here, which wouldn't have been too bad of an idea, but it would have knocked out Laya from doing a lot of damage, so I'm thinking set up for the Runic Gleam. And just passing up a Charm Eye, because Baron has nothing else to do. She's on kind of standby. Easy 1,207 damage is already going to knock him down for like a sixth of his HP. We'll see his HP in a bit when I look at his analysis. And the lizards wake up, which isn't too pleasant. Only 5,100 HP, so like a fifth of his HP gone to a single storm rune. This guy's a joke. Now I'm kind of looking around, figuring out what I want to do. I'm thinking probably, well, this is hindsight me rewatching footage I've already made. I go for a Star Drop turn, so I'm thinking about doing a lot of damage this turn if possible. Go for this is Wrath, and go for another Storm. Yeah, basically just stacking stacks on stacks of damage. And stacking Charm Eye even further. And because, I don't really mind that the Chameleon is in the back row. It doesn't bug this team at all, but he does this party poison that kind of sets me off. Oh, I went for Galvanic. Even better. Alright, so poison, 100 damage each, kind of noteworthy. I'm thinking, how am I going to deal with this? I'm going to dismiss heal into refresh. I figure I probably could have set up a group therapy earlier in the game, but it didn't really occur to me that this guy was status happy, so I didn't worry about it. But you know, the more you know now. Alright, have them set up Runic Gleams. I think he's going to cancel it out with his debuff. We'll see. I'm pretty sure that's what he does. He has a debuff. No, camouflage. Okay, so the Gleams are up, but he's going to use a debuff while he's behind camo. That will remove my Runic Gleams, as you will see in a bit after I set up the rune this turn. I kind of use this as kind of a setup turn. I'm going to go for the Wide Dance here, as well as the group therapy, and in the... yes, group therapy. Volt Rune. Easiest decision ever, and I was thinking about using like Ice Coffin or something, but I didn't end up having it, so I just defended with the Frost because she didn't want to do anything really. She could have set up Runic Gleam again, but I guess I didn't really consider that. But then he does this. And I'm like, wait, what? Did I just remove my Runic Gleam? And then it turns out it does. It removes any physical buff that's on anybody, so it doesn't even have to be physical, it's just any damage boosting buff is basically gone. It's an offense down. So, that wasn't too bad. I can easily set Gleams back up. There's not a big deal at all, not the slightest. So I set the Gleams back up. I mean, he's still camouflaged, so it's not like I could do anything else anyway. And I'm considering using items. Really don't need them for this fight. So I defend with Aaron to make sure that the circle doesn't disappear. Does a party ice attack. That's kind of annoying. Aaron auto heals to get some people back up.
Hey!
And
Just bone now, kid.
you're bone now, kid.
Boat rune up, yep.
This is basically his death turn. As I said, like, he took 1/5 of his health total from the storm earlier in the fight. This is just going to outright kill him. If not outright kill him, get him pretty close, but I'm pretty sure it's an outright kill. Like 1,702 damage, followed by 975. Laya is ridiculous. Confirmed. And we get the Count's cufflinks back.
Aww.
Alright, cutting ahead. Yeah, I explored a few sections of the third floor. Didn't think it was completely worth showing. I just escaped from the guys because I barely did not have enough movement to do this, but I figured I could escape from them pretty easily, and I was right. And I easily made it through that corridor of death, basically, but they're just going to go back into position. The puzzle wasn't too hard. I figured you can probably solve it pretty easily for yourself, even though I kind of went for like a makeshift tactic where I just kind of escaped from it. The rest of the floor wasn't too big of a deal. Hidden treasure chest that's locked, stuff like that. We've got a little bit of a story portion coming up, so I'll shut my trap. Okay, the Cradle Guardian. Definitely a unique boss in its own right. The Cradle Guardian is kinda tough. This is my first attempt at him, and I did win the first attempt. It took a while. I probably could have done this a lot better. There's lots of mistakes I make. It's just overall a train wreck for me, because I go for an offensive setup right off the bat instead of a defensive setup. My fault. Go for the analyze, kind of learn what's up with him, start setting up runic gleams and stuff. He goes for a physical attack. I think this is going to be pretty easy. And then it starts. So he's in physical form right now, so he's not weak to anything. He has a good old 15,000 HP, 3 times more than that Chameleon King guy we just fought. So this is going to be pretty interesting. It's going to take a bit more to slam him down. I'm thinking about if I want to slam a drive down, but I think I'm going to set up the Vanguard as I set up a rune. I believe I go for fire because Inferno is awesome. Now, Chaos is not going to apply itself for quite a while, as you'll see. Swordbreaker does Flora great justice. making Aaron the only one who's low on HP. And I mean, Circle Boon's now healing like 50s, in the 50s, that's just ridiculous. It's like having a miniature Protect Order on at all times as long as there's a circle up. So I'm going for a damage turn here. You can tell when I'm going for damage turns because I always go for the star drop when I go for damage turns, and I'm using Inferno. So I'm going Inferno into Charm. And I go for a party heal because I don't know what he's going to do. Then he does this. Oh, I'm going to actually, yeah, that. So Frost gets knocked out before she gets the opportunity to use her Inferno rune. So Laya's the only one who's knocked some damage off before dying. Aaron got lucky and was resurrected by auto revive, but Frost and Laya were not so lucky. Turn 4, and then, like, this is going to go on for 20 turns. This is mine. I know this is a 30-minute video. So I'm thinking, well, I have to start getting people back up online. This fight, I mean, he basically knocked down my damage dealers. At least everybody else is okay. Go for Spiral Slice because I didn't know what to do. I'm not, like, super expert at Imperials. It's been a while since I've really played with them on hard fights. He switches to his Fire form. I believe this is a damage-dealing form. I know in his different forms he does different things. So he'll go into a form, use one attack, do a swing, then phase shift, and then so every time he does a swing where he does a giant party attack, he changes phases. He can rotate his head either left or right or 180. He can rotate to about any position, I think. I don't think he's restricted in any way. Though I think he will always go fire, then Volt, then Ice. And then back to Volt, and then back to then to Fizz, and then whatever. After the first cycle of the phases, he goes anywhere. Party paralysis is kind of a big deal. I won't be able to get party refresh up, but I think I get lucky. Or maybe, oh, I get refresh up, but the other people don't. So most people are going to get knocked out by paralysis this turn. And he's going to swing this turn as well. I'm thinking about whether... I want to use Impulse Edge to make sure Logre has TP to keep going. Into Blizzard, into all sorts of other moves. Going for the... Oh, just going for a party heal. So put up Refresh. He goes for the Giant Turn Attack, kills Aaron. No Auto Revive. Glacier misses a bunch of times. Glacier's always going to miss a bunch of times. His 3 phases are weak to different things. His Fire phase is weak to Ice, his Ice stage is weak to Volt, and his Lightning stage is weak to Fire. Alright, so Aaron's dead again. Laya's dead again. I have to get people back online. I mean, as long as the front row is not dead, we're okay, but Flora can't dismiss heal if Aaron is dead. So, healing is a little bit of an issue when Aaron's dead. Thankfully, I knew this was a phase shift turn, so he wouldn't do any damage. He gets really predictable. After he swings, you basically have a free turn to get back online. And that's something you're going to learn to take advantage of during this fight, because if you don't take advantage of the fact that he gives you a free turn, it's going to kill you. He reminds me a lot of the Gatekeeper in this sense, the Gatekeeper from Etrian Odyssey 3, where he would, unlike, after he does his big attack, he does nothing. It's basically like a Hyper Beam in Pokemon. In the Gatekeeper sense, you could actually anticipate the attack, because he would charge up for the attack. This guy does not charge up for the attack, he just swings. In each of his phases, he does a different attack, so... In his Ice form, he's going to just do a Megaton Punch, and it's going to hurt a lot. Like, he doesn't always use the stance's specific attack, though I'm pretty sure each stance has a specific attack. He's just going to do one attack, then phase change. One attack, then phase change. Oh, actually, it's one attack, swing, phase change. One attack, swing, phase change. He has a predictable pattern in that fashion. I think I'm going to go for the lots of doing quite a bit of damage this turn. I'm really thinking about how I'm going to do this, because this is his swing turn. Logre gets shocked right before. I think it's because I set up Vanguard. Then he gets his Ice Wing, and it kills Laya again. Auto Revive thankfully activates and stops a little bit of heartache. And now I can finally start using Dismiss Heal now that a circle is staying online. So that should help the healing quite a bit. I'm checking for whether Vanguards are still up. I'm going for a Sharp Edge. I'm trying to get Impulses. It doesn't seem like the game really wants me to do anything, really. I go back to set up another Chaos Circle, because I am going for the Dismiss Heal after all. Everyone's back online. He does his Volt Shift. Chaos Circle's up. And alright, so everyone's back at full health. People have buffs on, so everything's looking good. He's just changed back to his Volt Stance, which is going to set up the his Paralysis move. So I'm thinking a Wide Dance is probably good here, because Wide Dance with Regen, Refresh, and Guard is just good no matter what he does. Set up the. I'm going to reset Vanguard. Go for an Impulse Edge for some TP regain. I'm trying to remember if Runic Gleams are up or not. I believe Laia does have hers up, but Frost does not. And then Charm Eye. Get some TP back. Wide Dance is up to prevent shenanigans. So he goes for his Party Paralysis move. This isn't going to be so bad. 1, because of Ailment Decay, and 2, because of Refresh. While it's being awesome. That was basically a giant regroup tactic to the face for him. I reset the refresh. I don't think I needed to do that, but I decided to. I'm on Overheat. I'm thinking Cool Edge will get me back to no Overheat, and that's probably good. Inferno, Inferno. Inferno, Inferno. Inferno, Inferno. Yes, go for the attacks. And I know he's going to swing this turn, so I defend, right? Look, you know he's going to swing this turn. So I'm thinking... I think, yeah, I know he's going to swing this turn, but I guess I didn't really think about defending with Aaron. Probably would have been a good idea, but it didn't happen. Luckily, ends up missing Aaron. Get a little bit lucky during this fight. I really didn't keep track of the fact that he has a pattern. I really just always kind of act like this. I never really wanted to really focus on how an enemy works until after I fail against him for the first time. And I haven't failed yet, so I'm still feeling pretty comfortable about the fight, even though it's not necessarily a good position for me. With 13 turns in, this fight is ridiculously long. Heavy Strike into Flame Drive. Flame Drive didn't do so much damage because I believe Vanguard is down. Goes back to Physical. That means I have to use runes again if I wanted to do super effective hits. But I've gotten him down. No, I think he's confused. No, he's not confused. He could be confused. I don't think he's confused. Alright, I'm thinking about using Hameos for TP Restoration. But I end up going for the Fire Rune Inferno, because Frost is on our last turn of Runic Gleam. So this is going to be a good time for Frost to get a good big giant hit in. He's going to do this Element, which raises his elemental defense, which isn't good. Seriously, wow. So now he's panicked, and I'm like, well, crap. He has this Elemental Resist up, and Lion won't do any damage. So I'm thinking Quick Step onto Logre to get the Hawkeye out in order to remove that Elemental Resistance of his, which would be pretty handy about now. So I'm going to Quick Step for the Hawkeye, because Imperials aren't very fast. Actually, he has Vanguard up. I don't know why I'm using... Do I notice this? I guess I don't notice. Okay, so I don't notice he's going to be Quick Stepped anyway. I guess it makes him faster than Sakura? Doesn't really have any significance. I just wasted Quick Step here. Knocks out that beneficial effect. Allows me to get some TP restoration going around. I never really use Hameos ever. Usually you only need one or the other. And either an HP heal or a TP heal. You never usually need both at the same time. So I usually don't like Hameos anyway. It was a good time to use them. Still on Overheat. I take the time. This is a good turn for Heatsink. Because Heatsink will remove 3, then the turn itself will pass 1, so he removes 4 overload, it makes him ready for the next turn. So I go for the heatsink. I actually prefer using heatsink normally. Some people will be like
Motherfucker, please
Impulse
die.
Edge into Sharp Edge. But I personally really like heatsinks. Laz doing a good chunk of 1200 damage, followed by Frost 880 damage. This guy's nearly dead. I don't remember if the status elements work this way, but I decided now's a pretty good time to try for Sleep Circle, even if it doesn't. Even if sleep doesn't override confusions, probably it doesn't harm me to not go for the Sleep Circle. So I'm gonna, because I want the sleep and then go for a big hit. I actually cancel out on what Sakura's doing. Going for the Flame Drive, Inferno Rune, Inferno Rune. Inferno Rune? You were just on it, man. Inferno Rune, Inferno Rune. Sleep Circle. It doesn't land. Spoilers. But I thought it was worth trying. Guy isn't very easy to put to sleep, and that's his conditional item. Probably could have gotten away with using Formaldehyde there, but decided against it. Can always do that later. Okay, so he's in head form. First turn of head form. If you don't destroy the head fast enough, it self-destructs, but thankfully it's pretty easy to kill when you have a lot of time to kill it. If you don't have the buffs, you can usually take a turn to set up the buffs, and it isn't too big of a deal. Just try to kill him fast. Laya's run out of TP. That's kind of a thing. I keep the Sleep Circle up because there's no sense in changing it. Star Drop into Spiral Slice, not that much damage. Volt remains up into Storm. And I set up Volt because it allows me to go into Zeus's Wrath, which is definitely going to kill him. So this guy's dead. He's dead. So just also like the Gatekeeper, he has a self-destruct mechanic. That's interesting. Anyways, people growing is level 50. Not that it matters too much. More plot time, I guess. Alright, so now that we've done that, we are going to go into the Explorers Guild and create the new class. And I'll show you all the portraits. Some of them look awfully familiar. You're going to especially notice the second one, especially once I tell you the comparison between the second portrait and the Etrian Odyssey 1 and 2 Protector, which will show up on screen about now. And thus, I'm going to name her Ren, which is what I named the Protectors of Etrian Odyssey 1 and Etrian Odyssey 2 playthroughs. So Ren makes a return, as well as Gandra. Ren is going to be an offensive member this time around rather than a defensive member, but it's mostly just because of the SB. Frost is getting a rework. Now that Laia isn't around to really always set up the runes for her, she's going to hyper-focus on an element. The element she's going to hyper-focus is, I'll let you guess, you have quite a few seconds to guess which way this character is going, which element she's going to prefer over other ones. I mean, there's a few hints. If you look kind of near the top of the screen, next to the thing, it says level 48, and it's above the R and the I. It starts with an F. I can't really tell what kind of element you would focus on with a name like that. I just can't. Okay, I'm gonna stop. She's gonna level up all these passives just a bit. The first few levels of a passive is actually more beneficial than an attack skill itself, and these passives are really going to carry her weaker elements because she's focusing on ice. So her main focus is on ice, but she's sometimes going to need to use the other elements too. So what's going to go on there is she's going to hyper-focus on ice and do little focus on the other two, and then she's going to have all these passives, and these passives will help carry the Inferno and the Galvanic, but she's not really going to invest into them until later when she has free skill points, and she won't have free skill points for a long time. Who are you kidding? She might get Wide Effect someday with Inferno. It's like, no. Like, she's just not going to have the skill points to really invest in such things. So she's going to get, like, fancy things like Runic Shield Max and Free Energy Max and Runic Flare Max. And Runic Flare Max takes a long time. Like, Absorber Max. And it's like, there's lots of things for her to get. And I'd rather hyper-focus on ice and the passives than get all three. It's just not worth it for her. So that's Frost's build in a nutshell. Hyper-focus on ice, and then we go into Ren. Ren's going to get basic runes. She's not going to get ice rune immediately. We can worry about getting that later. As I said, I made level 50 character builds for everybody, and Ren had level 3 ice rune in that build, but I really couldn't fit it in here because I had a lot more mandatory things. Plus, like Frost setting up her ice rune is a little bit better than Ren setting up a level 3 ice rune. So, and that goes that for me too. I did say this already, but I do prefer heatsink as a force. Actually, have I said that already? I don't know. I prefer heatsink as a source to reduce turns over Cool Edge, Impulse Edge, Sharp Edge, and moves like that, even though they are offensively oriented. I find that the heatsink gives me more DPS over time. And also, if the edges don't hit, they don't give you the benefit, so it's like not super worth it. I'm going to lightly invest into the Sharp Edge, Impulse Edge, and such, but I'm not going to get Charge Edge. I just don't find Charge Edge worth it, and she'd rather be setting up things like Hawkeye and Rear Guard. Eventually she's going to get Rear Guard. Right now she doesn't have Rear Guard. Eventually she's going to get Rear Guard, and we're going to put that on, who wants the Rear Guard? I'm going to put that on people like Aaron. Putting Rear Guard on Aaron so that she doesn't die is going to become a thing later. Putting Rear Guard on even like Frost or... well, those are the only two back row characters. Basically, sometimes he's going to Rear Guard for a back row character to prevent them from dying. It's awesome stuff like that. She has max Hawkeye. Hawkeye does stack with the Trophic Eye and all that stuff, getting the Enlightenment for the reduced overheating time. She's going to get into her mastery skills a little bit later, not right now. Right now she's going to focus on elemental stuff, and then she'll get into her mastery skills, and I think that's about it for her. At this point I'm getting the Impulse Edge, and that's all that's left for her to build on. She's not going to get Flame or Shock Drive any higher, basically because this team is hyper-focused on Ice, and it's like, may as well super invest in it. Save a bit of skill points by not super investing in the others. have a little bit of focus to the build, and I think that's all I have time to talk about because I'm going to cut out in a few seconds. So hey there everyone, if this is Lifer, as always, I thank you for watching. Next time, we'll do other things. Bye-bye.